What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American Politics. We got some breaking news out of the Ukrainian-Russian crisis that Joe Biden continues to overhype a bit. It does appear that we're going to be going for a conflict in Ukraine. Now, not to scare anybody, this is a disclaimer. I don't think it's going to be, a direct war. It's looking more and more like that, based on what Putin's doing, it's going to be more of a proxy war. It's going to be just extended civil war that's already happening in Ukraine. Now, before I forget, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash that like button down below, subscribe, share it with friends, hit the little bell, and yes. So, what do I mean by proxy war? What's going on here? What's this scam of a Ukraine-Russian war going on? Well, to put it simply, Putin has signed a decree, not degree. These people don't have degrees. A decree on the Donbass situation, or, separatist group. And if you don't know what Donbass is, it's this part of Ukraine. Yeah, that's it. This is what they're fighting all about. This small part of Ukraine, right on the border with Russia. That's it. That's all they're complaining about. This is what old Joe Biden was whining about. This is what Russia wants. And, by the way, look at the demographic maps. Well, mostly the ethnicity map. It is significantly Russian. Or, the yellow and brown parts. That is significantly Russian. But somehow, alright, this part is, full of conquest of Ukraine. They're going to invade Ukraine and conquer it all. No! They just want that little part of Ukraine. That's it. This is all they're fighting about, this small chunk of Ukraine. It proves my point. Why are we even talking about this? If Russia wants this part of Ukraine, they can take it in 5 minutes. At best. Or I should say at most. At best, they could take it in like 5 seconds. I mean, do people understand this part of Ukraine? I mean, they're making it sound like that this part of Ukraine's like a stable and, controlled by the Ukrainian government. It's not. This part of Ukraine's a complete war zone. I mean, it's already been independent, essentially, for like 8 years now at this point. So at this point, it's just Russia recognizing this part of Ukraine as an independent country, or technically two. You got Donetsk, I think that's how you say the name, and you got Luhansk. Why are Ukrainian names weird? Don't question it. But essentially, these two parts of Ukraine are recognized as independent countries to Russia. And Russia's plan is they're going to collaborate, in quotations, with these governments and throw troops in there. Now, this technically is not, what I would consider a direct invasion of Ukraine. Is it technically, in some weird sense? I guess. But this is just more of a disputed territory at this point. It's not like full-on conquest of Ukraine going to get absolutely destroyed by Russia. Russia will annex it all. It just appears to be just a regular border crisis. That's it. We spent all this time for two small parts of Ukraine, which, by the way, again, extremely Russian. And they're already controlled by separatist groups that want to be part of Russia. They don't want to be part of Ukraine. Does Russia have problems? Yeah, but Ukraine's problems are significantly worse than Russia's problems. So they want to be part of Russia. Why should we stop them? I mean, why should we get involved in this mess? Can anybody explain that? Nobody I know of can explain why we should be involved in this part of the world. Ukraine has not once offered the United States a single valuable asset. What do they offer? Sure, they got oil, but we have oil here too. What they do have, though, is oligarchs that, surprise, surprise, very corrupt. And who is involved in the corrupt oligarchs? Joe Biden's son, Hunter. Now you're starting to realize why we want to get involved in this part of the world. Not because of we care about the Ukrainian citizens. No, if we cared about the Ukrainian citizens, just let Russia take it. Just be like, okay, Russia, just take it. I don't want a war. That's all you gotta do. And just say, hey, Ukraine, You could be like, kind of like a satellite state of, NATO, but you can't directly join. That's how you solve the crisis. Instead, we're so gun-ho about potentially sending troops to Ukraine, sending weapons and stuff to Ukraine. That's not going to end well if we do that, by the way. But this is what appears to happen. They're just going to send 150,000 troops to this part of Ukraine, the part of Ukraine that they claim are independent countries that want to join Russia. So very similar to what happened to Crimea, like 5, 6, 7 years ago already. So yeah, it's a very similar situation. Now again, why should we be bothering with this? I mean, it's two pro-Russian parts of Ukraine. They want to join Russia. You look more into it more, though, this is the part that people should probably worry about. The legacy of not just the Soviet Union, but the Russian Empire has been squandered. Now, I don't like empires. Especially do not like the Soviet Union. And I am not the biggest fan of what Putin said here. This is the only part of this entire thing that people should be a bit paranoid about. This statement. Not that he's going to invade Ukraine. He's going to take like 2 parts of Ukraine and that's it. Instead, he's like hinting at it's not just going to be, this chunk of Ukraine. Let's continue to Belarus. Let's continue to the Baltic states. Finland. That's what people should be a bit more afraid of. Not, what happens in Ukraine. Russia's going to take the part of Ukraine they want either way. But instead, they should be pushing more back on, what the potential to do with the Baltic states. What they're going to do with the Belarus, which, by the way, is already like a puppet of Russia. So you get the point that this is the part of the thing that I'm a bit paranoid about. That he is talking about, the Russian Empire. And if you know what the Russian Empire was, they were all the way to Poland. So that's why I'm saying that, yeah, that's not the good idea to talk about that. And again, if you really want to, deal with Russia, just throw to economic sanctions. That's all you gotta do. But I don't think we can because the oil pipeline. So, it's one of those situations. But again, I don't think a direct war is happening in Ukraine. Though I do believe this proxy war stuff that I thought was dead, I thought that died in the 80s, I think it's going to start popping off again in some parts of Eastern Europe, First is Ukraine, it's probably going to happen to Belarus a little bit, though. Again, Belarus is a puppet state. Then probably happen to Baltics, Finland potentially. So that's why I'm saying that this is why maybe some sanctions should be fine, but just negotiate a deal with them. Just say, hey, you could have this part of Ukraine, but you can't just, do the same stuff in the Baltics and Finland, or you will get sanctioned. That's how you deal with Russia. By, we're going to directly threaten you with war. That's not going to go well. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed my, take on this whole situation. If you did, smash that like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the little bell, and yes. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.